be making some fresh pasta noodles. I have some all-purpose flour here with a teaspoon of salt, and it's 2 cups of flour. And then we have 4 egg yolks and 2 whole eggs. We're just going to pour that in the middle of the well of our flour here. And then take a fork and start whisking your eggs together gently, just allowing the flour to slowly incorporate into the eggs. Slowly kind of push the flour into the eggs. Once it starts to kind of come together and lose its liquidy form, you can start using your hands.
Do not draw on the floor. Doesn't even work. This one doesn't even work.
Okay, thank you. I'm just going to slowly work this together. Until it forms into a nice smooth ball. And as you work this together, if you find that it's too dry, you can wet your hands a little bit, and that will help bring it together just with a little bit of water. A little bit sticky, but still dry at this point. Looks a little bit like pastry dough at this point. It does feel a little bit dry, so which could be the size of the eggs. I'll add a little bit of water. And they're just kind of dampened. So it's been about 2 minutes, and as you can see, it's come together a little bit, but it's still really tough. It takes about 10 minutes of full-on kneading to get it to come together. I may have had too small of eggs, so in this case, I'm going to add just a tiny little bit of oil to my hands instead of water, and just rub that in, just to help soften this up a little bit. But it is normal for it to be very dry, and it just requires a lot of work and kneading to get it to come together.
Yuck.
So
Is that pasta?
it will be pasta.
But what doesn't look like alcohol?
It's a weird looking alcohol. So you're just going to keep working this together, and eventually it will become nice and smooth and cohesive. Okay, so a few more minutes of working this has passed, and it's starting to come together now. It's definitely a workout getting this together. So what you want to do is you kind of want to, with the heel of your hand, you kind of want to pull down in a motion kind of like this. And once you get kind of flattened out enough, then you kind of fold it on top of itself, and then continue that process. It is quite tough, so I do find that kind of squeezing underneath as you slide helps to pull the dough. So I'm going to do one more. Alright. So now that that's put together, it's fairly smooth on the top. I think my eggs were a little bit too small, so normally it's not quite this hard, but it'll still be just fine. So now we're going to cover it in plastic wrap and let it sit on the counter for about an hour, and then we will cut it up into the shapes that we want it for noodles. Alright, so our dough has had about 60 minutes to rest, and you'll see it's so much smoother and nicer now. It's a little bit softer. It's So it's been at room temperature now for 60 minutes. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cut this into 4. And we're gonna cover the ones that we're not using so they don't dry out. And one at a time, I'm gonna try and get this into a little bit of a flatter shape with a rolling pin. Just a little bit flatter. And I've got my flour. We're gonna dust it with a little bit of flour. And just stretch it out. All right, so now we're gonna start on about probably setting number 6 is a good, setting number 1 is a good place to start. And we're gonna go through this 3 times. It's gonna be a little bit tough the first time through because it's very thick. It'll get easier as you go. So there's the first roll. So we're gonna fold it and fold it. Probably do 3 times. Just so it fits in there nice. Give it a little squeeze, and then we're gonna go again. Machine needs a clean. Just get an extra little piece of dough and you run it through each one before you make your noodles. That way any dirt or metal particulate comes out in your scrap. So here we go. Just hold it up and slowly run it through. Nora, what is it? Okay. And there's the first batch. Look at how awesome that looks. Now you'll notice a couple of them are stuck together, and that's completely normal. Just gently pull them apart. And until you're ready to use them, you want to actually cover them so they don't dry out. We aren't drying these noodles. So we're going to cover them with saran wrap, and you can even cover with a tea towel on top of that. I'm just gonna finish these up, and I've got everything ready to go. Okay, and there we are. So that is how much one batch makes, which is enough to feed my family of, well, 4 that eat noodles anyway, with some leftovers. So I'm gonna go ahead and drop these in the pot, and I'll do that right now. Got my boiling salted water here, and we're just gonna drop that in. And this is only gonna cook in the pot for about a minute. Sorry, pardon my bad filming skills here. It's a one-man show. So after about a minute, we're going to remove that and add it to our sauce. And then I like to let it sit in the sauce for like 2 minutes or so to let it finish cooking in the sauce. And that way it absorbs a little bit of the flavor. All right, so it's been about a minute, and as you can see, they're lovely. They just look so delicious. So we're gonna take these out and add them to our sauce. Today I made my creamy tomato beef pasta sauce. All right, so once you get all your noodles added, gently toss them in your sauce, whatever that may be. And this doesn't look very gentle, but anyways, get it kind of covered, and then we're gonna let it sit for a couple minutes to soak up some of that delicious flavor. Okay, so these have been sitting for about 3 minutes. Now they're perfect and al dente. So we're gonna serve them up. Just delicious. We'll get a little bit of extra sauce from the edges. Yum. A little bit of cheese. And I can't wait to eat. How luscious that looks.